Wisconsin Eye's 2014 election coverage is brought to you by the Wisconsin Hospital Association. For over 90 years, a valued voice for Wisconsin hospitals, supporting high-quality, high-value care in communities like yours.
Wisconsin Eye is at the Brown County Library in Green Bay. We're interviewing candidates for the 2014 election. We're talking to Mr. Paul Feit of Sturgeon Bay. He's a Republican running in the 1st Assembly District. Paul, welcome to Wisconsin Eye.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. People can start to learn about me.
Thank you. A programming note, Wisconsin Eye appreciates the support of the Wisconsin Hospital Association, which represents more than 139 hospitals and health systems, for making these candidate interviews possible. Paul, I'm intrigued by how you seem to have gotten politics, because I found this phrase on your website, gotten involved, and it's this. You found that, using your terms, the poor did not have access to basic dental care.
Right.
Can you explain how that triggered? Is that a big reason why you're ending up running for the Assembly?
It's one of the big reasons.
Well, let's explain. You're a dentist. Both you and your wife are dentists, but
correct.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so from my profession, I've always been serving, and I have private practices. But what I found is that there's a disparity in care from what people can afford and what they really need. I've participated in all kinds of clinics helping the poor and underserved, from mobile clinics where we would come to the schools in Green Bay and maybe we'd be working on a stage, maybe we'd be working in the music room, but we'd be serving those that couldn't get the care. And what I found is the disease is very, very bad in these populations, and their ability to seek care and find people willing to provide for them is almost unavailable, particularly for adults. So what I've done is I've worked with the Dental Association. I'm a trustee, and we've pushed legislation. That's what got me down to Madison, got me interested in politics. I've worked with the director of Medicaid. I've presented to legislators, and I'm passionate about helping these people.
Is it worse in the rural areas? Excuse me for interrupting.
I think it's everywhere. The rural areas certainly have a problem, but if you want to talk about a bad spot, downtown Milwaukee might be one of the worst areas in the state.
Okay. Okay.
So my goal is, as a professional, as a dentist, get those people treated. But as a politician, we have lots of other people to take care of also.
Right.
So.
Well, let's talk about health care.
Sure.
With all the swirling change, the Affordable Health Care Act.
Yes.
But let me ask a question in terms of, if you go to the Assembly, you'd be involved in this debate. The federal government told all states, we will pay the cost of expanding MA.
Yes.
But Governor Walker and the leaders of the Senate and the Assembly said thanks, but no thanks.
Right.
Was that a wise or unwise decision, Paul?
I agree with Governor Walker on that decision 100%, because I feel like the federal government is throwing out some bait to start these programs, and my concern is that with as much debt as they're running up at the federal level, I'm concerned about their ability to continue to fund this, and I think that they're going to leave us holding the bag, and they're going to leave Wisconsin taxpayers on the hook for a program that they didn't design and that now they're accountable for.
But you volunteer time at a hospital
Yes.
treating some of these major dental problems
Right.
in addition to your practice. What's the ultimate solution to get dental care to more of these people who have not had it, and they're threatening their health for not having it?
The proven solution is funding the program. It has been proven in other states statistically when the rates of reimbursement are brought up. Our current rate in our state is between 25 and 28% of a normal fee, and our cost to deliver care as dentists is about 65% of every dollar. So we can't afford to lose money.
40
to treat
percentage
people.
point gap there, isn't there? Excuse me for interrupting.
Yes, and so the solution is you have to fund it. Now, I'm a fiscal conservative, so that leaves me with a battle in my mind here. What we need to do is take money that the state has and reallocate it appropriately to take care of our people. I do not like raising taxes, and I think that they have enough money if we allocate it correctly to handle this problem. Okay.
Let's talk about some public school issues.
Sure.
Do you support the school choice and the voucher program, Paul?
My children participate in school choice. We've decided to use a different district than the one we live in. It's been very successful for us, and we absolutely support that 100%. The voucher program I will support, but I feel like we need to have some accountability for all schools in Wisconsin, some type of measurable outcomes, because I'm afraid that if we continue to expand a program that is not being monitored or we're not measuring outcomes, How do we know if we're getting a better education for these kids? And that is what the kids deserve, is the best crack at a good education. The parents deserve the choice. We need to measure the outcome so that we can make sure we're getting the bang for our taxpayer dollars.
In the next school year, there's a $1,000, as you know, cap on the number of the choice or voucher students statewide outside the cities of Milwaukee and Racine. If you're in the assembly, what would you vote to limit that 1,000 student cap next year? And
not necessarily.
Statewide?
If we can see some monitoring and measure those outcomes, and I'm not just talking about the private schools, all the schools in Wisconsin, we need to measure the outcomes so we can compare if this program is effective. And I certainly will support a program that is monitored and continues to show excellent results and gives parents and children the comfort that this is actually working.
Another issue in the public schools, you must be asked about it as you campaign, Common Core standards.
Okay.
What's your
Common
position?
Core is a hot button, and out doing doors, I'm getting a lot of opinions on that. I'm against Common Core. I do not agree with the way it was implemented, but my main reason is that it is just more big government pushed out on the states. My concern is that Healthcare Affordable Care Act has been a disaster on the rollout. Now we're going to apply federal control on our schools, and we're going to set ourselves up for a disaster. Our state is very capable of deciding what curriculum is appropriate for our kids, and I think we need to have that control at the state level. Until our federal government becomes more responsible with their programs and their spending, I would like to just keep the control here so that we can be successful.
As you know, Door County needs good highways to get all those tourists to come up and drop their money. But there's a projected $650 million deficit in the next biennial budget for the Department of Transportation.
Correct.
Do we delay some of those highway projects or raise taxes, or how do we fill that gap?
Well, the first thing we do is we stop allowing that fund to be robbed. And there is an amendment on the ballot this fall. I support 100% protecting that fund. And as we've seen, the Doyle administration rob that fund, which created some of the shortfall we're now dealing with. The first thing we need to do is protect the funds, and then we need to start looking at ways to increase, to replenish that. Strong jobs and a strong economy brings us a better tax base, and we've seen that in the Walker administration. We now have a surplus. Some of that money can be put back in to pay back the deficit that was created by the Doyle administration. And immediately, we may have to delay some funds immediately, or some projects immediately, because the funding is short. But we need to stop the robbing with that amendment this fall. It's important, and then look to places to replenish that.
And you're not willing to raise either the gas tax or what you and I pay in license plate fees, correct?
I do not like the idea of raising taxes. Wisconsin is one of the worst tax states in the nation. That stifles our economy. It stifles job creation, and job creation is what brings a better tax base, which is what solves all of our fiscal issues, as long as we keep spending in control.
It's such a timely issue. I'm asking all candidates this. Your reaction to Judge Crabb's ruling on same-sex marriage?
Same-sex marriage, in 2008, there was an amendment to the Constitution, and Wisconsin voters voted to accept that amendment to ban same-sex marriage in Wisconsin. Right now, that's being battled in the courtroom outside of the legislature's control. What I'm going to focus on is keeping families healthy and strong by job creation, giving them the opportunities to make a good living and to be successful as families.
Two candidates for Attorney General say first offense drunken driving should be a crime. Your position?
I disagree with that. I would like to still see the first offense drunken driving not be a crime. Anybody can make a mistake. And if that mistake the first time involves a casualty or an injury to someone, there are laws in place that can force harsher penalties on that person already. And I think that that's appropriate, and leaving the control at the bench where the judges know what's going on with that is really the best place for it.
Also debated in Madison and Washington, calls to raise the minimum wage. Do you have a position?
Economics, basic economics would tell us that if we raise the minimum wage, we will put less demand for workers, because employers will have a much harder time paying that wage and hiring more people. I'm afraid that it's going to create job loss. I'm afraid that it's going to create inflation. And what I would really like to see is to have us focus on creating real jobs, not minimum wage jobs, real jobs that someone can make a living at, which is manufacturing. It's small businesses being created, and those are the things that actually drive the economy. It's not giveaways in that manner.
Is there any key issue to your campaign that I haven't asked about? I want to give you a chance to bring it up.
My key issue is the reforms that the Republicans and Governor Walker put in place in the last few years, put our state on a balanced budget. It returned $2 billion of taxpayer money to the taxpayers, and it put our state as a shining example of conservative politics. The nation is looking at us, and I think our best way out of this catastrophe at Capitol Hill is to continue to keep our state strong and show that this works and have this catch on. We've seen what Illinois, when they went to continue tax and spend, it's a disaster. Our state is doing really well, and that is the reason I'm in this race, because I believe in what's happening. I believe that our only way out of a catastrophe at the federal level is to keep this strong as an example.
And then finally, do you want to highlight any differences with you're running against in the August 12th primary?
Sure. We're fortunate to have all good guys. I know these guys, and they are good guys. But
you're the dentist for one of them.
Yes, yes. At least, but I can't say.
I understand.
But they're good guys. But I will tell you that I have the ability to win this. This is a swing seat. It's going to be a battle. And the reason is I have the passion. I believe in what's happening. I have the resources. We've raised a ton of money. I'm putting the miles in. Got over 100 miles walked. I can take the time off of work. People doubt that, but I have 4 dentists that are associates for me. And come July, I will be out there pounding the streets like I have been, raising money and putting the word out. I truly, truly believe what's happened here is right, and I think it's a pivotal moment in our history, and I support it.
Thank you very much. Paul Feit of Sturgeon Bay is a Republican candidate in the 1st Assembly District. Paul, thanks for talking to Wisconsin
Thank you.
Eye.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.